common criticism of Scrum is that it has too many meetings, and those meetings take too long. I understand the complaint. I hate meetings. Actually, I hate unnecessary or overly long meetings. To me, the meetings and the other rules of Scrum are like lines painted on the highway. They're there to help us go faster. When Scrum meetings are done well, and that includes being as short as possible, those meetings help a team go faster. Meetings become an investment in sprint success rather than a burden. When a Scrum team complains about meetings, it's usually a symptom that their meetings aren't going well. To fix it, focus on the purpose of each meeting and keep the meetings as short as possible. Let's take a look at each meeting. We'll start with sprint planning, the purpose of which is to establish a sprint goal and choose the relevant product backlog items the team will tackle. To do this, teams typically discuss tasks and a rough estimate for each to form a sprint backlog. While these discussions are helpful, they should last only long enough to help choose the appropriate work. The Scrum Master can play a pivotal role in curbing excessive debates over specific estimates. For instance, whether a task is estimated at 4 hours or 8 hours is unlikely to change a team's decision about whether a product backlog item can fit in a sprint. Likewise, if the developers agree that a task will take 6 hours but can't agree on how they'll implement it, good enough. That detail does not need to be resolved during sprint planning. What I do in this case is add a sprint backlog item saying to do the thing, and give it an estimate of 6 hours in this case, and then add another task, fight over how to do it, and give that an hour estimate. Okay, maybe argue is better than fight, but you get my point that the argument can happen later. I recommend that you try to finish sprint planning in 45 minutes or less per week of sprint duration. That means 90 minutes for a 2-week sprint. It may take longer as a new team gets the hang of sprint planning. You can probably do it a little faster, but don't rush sprint planning. Saving time here is a false economy, as it just means the team has left too much unidentified work that they will uncover during the sprint. On to the sprint review. The purpose of the sprint review is to solicit feedback on items completed during the sprint to discuss how that affects future plans for the product. A demo is the central activity in most sprint reviews. A common mistake in sprint reviews is teams feeling the necessity to demo everything they worked on. Teams doing this seem to think the review is used to justify their existence. Some items don't warrant a demo. For example, if a team fixed a bug and fixed it in the only way it could have been fixed, that item does not need to be shown. Sure, if a review participant asks to see it, go ahead and show it. But save time in reviews by showing just the important new functionality on which the team needs feedback. A sprint review should never take more than 90 minutes. If a lot of hot issues unexpectedly arise and the meeting is on pace to take longer than that, the Scrum Master should limit conversations and promise to schedule follow-up meetings on specific topics. Each of those meetings can then be limited to the smallest set of participants necessary. I think most sprint reviews can be very easily completed within 60 minutes. If yours are routinely taking longer, here are a couple of suggestions. Reduce the number of participants in the meeting, shorten your sprints, or conduct more ad hoc demos of functionality during the sprint to the most interested or vocal participants. Let's move on to the sprint retrospective. The purpose of the retrospective is for team members to identify ways in which the team can improve. The most common mistake in the retrospective is discussing things the team either cannot change or does not plan to change in the near term. I once participated in a retrospective in which someone said the team should stop climate change. He didn't want to slow climate change by perhaps reducing the team's carbon footprint. He wanted to stop it. I'm sure the Scrum Master got right to work on that, probably after the Scrum Master ended world hunger. This is an extreme example. More common is the same issue being brought up repeatedly, retro after retro. One team had grand plans to simplify the creation of new automated tests with a database of canonical test data. While the entire team supported this initiative, they collectively acknowledged that there wouldn't be time to implement it for another 6 months. Despite this consensus, one team member persisted in bringing up the idea at every retrospective. In such instances, the Scrum Master should guide team members to concentrate exclusively on issues they can influence and are eager to tackle in the short term. If the team decides to postpone an item, the Scrum Master can set a reminder in their to-do list or calendar app, ensuring it resurfaces at an appropriate time. If a team is new and therefore has lots of room for improvement, I set a 1-hour limit for retrospectives, regardless of sprint length. I consider that a very soft limit. If a hot issue blows up and it's worth talking about, I'm willing to let the retrospective go longer, as long as the conversation seems constructive. Once a team gets good, I target 30 minutes for retrospectives. That might be a little tight, and I'm occasionally told it should be longer. It's worth keeping in mind, though, the ROI of a retrospective. An extra 30 minutes for an 8-person team is 4 hours spent. To be worthwhile, the 30 minutes should have an improvement worth at least that much to the team. Moving on to product backlog refinement. The purpose of refinement is to make sure the highest priority product backlog items are sufficiently well understood and small enough that each can be worked on in the coming sprint. This is the meeting where I see the most time added beyond what's strictly necessary. Often team members erroneously use the refinement meeting to eliminate all or nearly all uncertainty from each product backlog item. Instead, all that's needed is to eliminate enough uncertainty that team members feel comfortable, not necessarily 100% confident, but comfortable that they know enough about the backlog item to complete it in the coming sprint. Scrum Masters need to help teams become comfortable bringing items into a sprint with some issues unresolved. I recommend easing a team into this. Begin during refinement by gaining agreement that some trivial issues can remain open, but emphasize that team members can resolve them as early in the sprint as they want. Progress from there to leaving bigger issues open to be resolved during the sprint. It's hard to recommend a maximum amount of time for refinement because it depends on a lot of factors, such as how long your sprints are, how fast the team is progressing through backlog items, how messy the product backlog is currently, the domain, and more. Independent of how long your sprints are, I recommend that you limit backlog refinement meetings to 90 minutes. If necessary, do 2 meetings per sprint. For nearly all teams, I think it's very achievable to complete refinement in one meeting no longer than 90 minutes. It helps if you think of the meeting as a pre-planning checkpoint. You want to see if top priority items are small enough and sufficiently well understood to be done in the coming sprint. To do that, you don't need to resolve all open issues. Daily scrums are a common source of complaint because, well, they happen daily. The purpose of the daily scrum is discussing progress toward the sprint goal and adjusting the sprint backlog as needed. Team members synchronize effort during the daily scrum. Why do daily scrums take too long? It's often because team members spend too long discussing how to solve problems. Problems should be identified during the daily scrum, but do not necessarily need to be solved. Some problems are so simple they should be addressed right when they're brought up. I coach Scrum Masters to encourage a problem-solution thank you approach. A problem can be mentioned. When possible, someone provides a simple answer and is thanked. If this turns into questions, clarifications, and additional detail, the Scrum Master intervenes and indicates the problem should be discussed by just the parties involved and immediately after the daily scrum. I think a good target for daily scrums is about 10 minutes. This, of course, depends on the team size and more, but 10 minutes is enough to quickly synchronize effort. I don't recommend being one of the teams who brag about doing their daily scrums in 3 or 5 minutes. A 3-minute meeting is probably not worth doing. And I'm not a huge stickler on the 15-minute limit of a daily scrum. I don't think that a team should exceed 15 minutes on a routine basis, But an 18 or 20-minute daily scrum once a sprint is hardly a problem if the extra time is for good discussion. Scrum meetings should not be a burden. When done well, the meetings will help team members work efficiently and effectively to achieve their goals. Meeting fatigue is a common complaint from teams that are either new to Scrum or have drifted away from the purpose of these meetings. Getting the most out of meetings is something I and the other Mountain Goat trainers cover in our Working on a Scrum Team course, which is aimed at teams that are either new to Scrum, new to working together, or seeking to refresh how they work. If you'd like to level set the understanding of Scrum meetings with your team, you can find out more about the course in the description.